Some stories don't start with love. They start with weather reports, with front porches, with a knock on a door you weren't expecting. This is one of those stories, and he never saw any of it coming. That night, the rain didn't just fall. It slammed the city like it was chasing redemption. Tyrese had just finished putting his 7-year-old daughter to bed. She hated thunder, always crawled into his bed when he was still up grading freshman essays. He was a high school teacher, part-time Lyft driver, and full-time dad since the day her mother left. Didn't complain much. Tired was normal now. The power flickered, then came that unexpected knock. Not loud, not desperate. Just disappointed, like it had been trying at the last 3 houses and had one more chance. Tyrese unlatched the front door and found a woman standing in the rain. No umbrella. Hair wet. Face calm. Eyes red. "Car broke down," she said. "Phone's dead. I didn't mean to freak you out." She looked like she didn't need help, but maybe needed someone not to ask too many questions. He hesitated. She shivered. He let her in. Gave her a towel, a cup of peppermint tea, offered her the couch until morning. She thanked him, like someone who hadn't been thanked in a long time. Didn't ask about his daughter. Didn't overshare. Just said her name was Jada. A few polite laughs, a story about how she hated rental cars, and by 11:40 p.m., the house was quiet again. He peeked in on his daughter, then passed out on his side of the couch's pullout, as the storm kept knocking on the windows like it wanted back in. By morning, the storm was gone. Birds chirped, coffee brewed, and the smell of something warm hit his nose before his eyes even opened. He sat up slowly, found his living room empty, but the hallway light on. And then he walked into the kitchen. There she was, the woman from the night before. Jada, wearing his shirt, smiling, like it belonged to her. "Morning," she said softly. He froze. Not because of the shirt, but because she was already making eggs like she owned the stove. He tried to think of words. Jada, I. She poured hot water into a travel mug. Turned to him. "You really don't remember last night, do you?" she said, calm as sunrise. He blinked. "No, we didn't. I mean, did we?" She stepped closer. Opened her purse. Pulled out a folded document. Laid it on the counter. He went still. 4 words stared at him in bold. Notice of property transfer. She smiled gently. "Turns out the man who saved my life also happens to be renting the house I now own." It took Tyrese a full 20 seconds to find words. "You own this house." Jada was finishing her coffee like she'd lived there for years. "Yes," she said with no hesitation. "Just closed Friday. I've never seen it in person. Your property manager was handling everything." His face tightened. He just paid rent 2 days ago. Nobody had said anything about a sale. "You're my landlord," he whispered. She laughed softly. "No, I don't like that word. Makes it sound like I'm here to collect rent or check your bathroom tiles." He crossed his arms. "Then what are you here to do?" She shrugged. "I'm just here to see what I bought." That hit different. Tyrese didn't like feeling owned. Didn't like the idea that the woman wearing his shirt also held the deed to his front porch and his memories. "Look," she added quickly, "I didn't mean to ambush you. Believe it or not, I didn't come here to mess up your life." He looked at her hard. "Then why are you still here?" Jada's face changed then. The smile softened but didn't fade. "Because last night, before you let me in, I was standing outside in the storm crying. And you didn't ask for anything. No name, no story, no shame. You just said, 'Come in.'" She stepped closer. "And I don't forget kindness." Tyrese blinked. He wasn't sure if that made him feel better or more confused. "Okay, so now what?" He gestured toward the kitchen light. "The owner of this house makes eggs in my kitchen. showers in my bathroom, and hands me documents about property transfer. She walked to her purse again, pulled out another folder. "This is the updated lease agreement," she said. 6 months, frozen rent, no inspections, no hassle. I'll even cover your next utility bill. Tyrese opened it slowly. Read her signature. "Why?" he asked. Jada paused for the first time. "I used to live in a place like this," she said. "My assistant found it through reverse searches, said it might be poetic. Same size, same layout. Figured I'd buy it and maybe turn it into something for the community. And instead, you found me." She let out a breath. "Yeah, I found you. A man raising a daughter alone, working 2 jobs, not asking for handouts, but giving shelter without blinking." Something changed in his posture. A tiny release of tension. Like maybe this was real. Not a setup. Not a scheme. Just 2 people who met at the crossroads of crisis and cosmic alignment. Tyrese reached for the pen. Signed the lease with a sharp stroke. "Fine," he said, "but you're not allowed to come back in my house unannounced." Jada smirked. "Copy that, Mr. Tenant. I'll call first next time." "Don't call," he said, pointing at her sleeves. "Just don't wear my shirts again." She looked down at the oversized fabric, then chuckled. No promises. The weeks that followed were strange, in a peaceful sort of way. Jada didn't disappear. She didn't hover either. Every few days, she'd stop by with a bag of groceries or a silly excuse to drop off a package that wasn't urgent. Tyrese acted unbothered. But every time her car pulled up, his daughter ran to fix her hair like royalty was coming over. Jada had this way of blending in and standing out at the same time. She never asked about Tyrese's past. Never questioned why there were no framed photos of his ex, no ring on the nightstand. She just talked to his daughter like she mattered. She helped with math homework, brought books, and one time showed up with 3 pairs of matching socks, just because everyone deserves warm feet and a fresh start. Tyrese wasn't the poetic type. He didn't believe in fate or signs. But something about her felt, like closing the door on grief and finding a window open just wide enough for air. One morning, crisp and quiet, Jada showed up in running clothes. He teased her. Rich people exercise too. She raised a brow. Reality check, this shirt was $7. They shared coffee on the porch. His daughter was at a sleepover. No rain, no storm, just sunrise and space. And then she asked what she hadn't since day one. "Do you ever wish that night didn't happen?" He paused, looked at her over his mug. "If that storm didn't bring you to my door, I'd still be surviving, but I wouldn't be living." She took a soft breath. "I came thinking I was buying back a memory," she said. "A layout that reminded me of a version of myself I hadn't met in years. But instead, I found you." They both sat quietly for a moment. "I don't know what this is," he said slowly, "but I'm not afraid of it." She nodded. "I don't need promises. I just need honesty." He nodded too. And in that pause between statements, before the coffee got cold, something shifted. Trust. The kind not declared, but sensed. Sometimes life gives you storms. Sometimes it gives you shelter. And sometimes it lets 2 people become each other's weather and home. If you've ever held it together for someone smaller than you, if you've ever given your last bit of kindness to a stranger in the rain, then you already know. Sometimes love doesn't arrive with flowers. Sometimes it comes wearing your shirt. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. Because even in silence, the truth has a voice.